I need to say something that is going to sting a little bit. But if you've been homeschooling for more than a year, you most likely already know that this is true. You can be busy all day long and still get to the end of the day and wonder what you actually accomplished. And if that is you, if you are exhausted, if your kids are behind, if you're constantly frustrated with the way that your homeschool is going, it does not necessarily mean that you have been lazy. What it actually means is that no one has loved you enough to actually tell you the hard truths about homeschooling. Today, I'm going to say the things that most people will not tell you. I am not doing this to discourage you. I am doing this to give you crystal clear clarity. Because once you understand exactly what is going on in your homeschool, fixing it actually becomes possible. Being busy all day does not mean that school happened. Movement is not equal to progress. A lot of activity can hide a lack of mastery. Okay, so this is what you need to ask yourself, basically at the end of the day, every day. You're going to ask yourself, what did my child actually practice today? And what can they do better tomorrow than they did today? This is a really important exercise until you really get the hang of making sure that your children aren't just doing busy work or doing projects. You want to make sure that they are mastering the material, that they can recite things back to you, that they are memorizing things, that they are understanding what it is that they're doing, that they're not just checking the boxes. And you know that I am a huge fan of checklists, but we are not just checking things off for the sake of checking things off. We want to make sure that we are progressing through all of the different stages of learning. So what we're looking for is not just completed work, but we want completed work. Then we want corrected work. So this is where mom comes in. It's time to make corrections. And then you have your child go and, redo the problems. And then you also want retained skills. So one thing that, is important to remember is if you are explaining a new concept to your child, like let's say that you're explaining subtracting fractions, okay? This is a skill that is not going to just be learned in a day. So if your child is getting a little bit stuck on this, that means you don't move on to the next concept until they have got it. They need to really understand it. They need to retain it, and they need to be able to basically teach it back to you before you move on. For some students, this is not necessary in math. It might be composition that they struggle, okay? But you need to make sure that you are not pushing your child forward just because that is what is on the time schedule, or that is the way that the curriculum is laid out, or you're not just trying to check boxes off here. You have to make sure that they understand the concept before you move on to the next concept, because this is what makes kids hate math. Okay, when they're being pushed to go to the next part of the math before they understand what preceded it. So make sure that your children are retaining what it is you are teaching them, and that you are not pushing them forward until they are ready. That is where real progress happens. Number 2, burnout is often a boundary problem, not a workload problem. Okay, so burnout. You hear about burnout from homeschool moms all the time. Oh, I'm just so burned out. I'm just so burned out. This is where burnout usually occurs. No start time, no end time, no protected school block. So this is something I really want you to remember, because this is a trend right now. And let's be honest, this has been going on for over 10 years. When everything is school, nothing is school. Okay, so if you are counting things like baking cookies as math time, if you are counting going to the zoo as science for the week, if you are counting all sorts of activities as school time, then what actually is school time? You have to define it so much more clearly. Putting real boundaries around what is and what is not school, it creates a lot of freedom, because it actually helps move the school forward. You can see progress as the teacher, as the homeschool mom, and your children can feel progress. You're not feeling progress if all of your math is happening around baking cookies or bread or whatever. Like, that's fun and everything, but that's not actually really measurable progress. So it's time to stop calling, going like, go to the science museum. I'm not saying don't go to the science museum, but don't call it school, because it's not. It is an addition. It's an enrichment project. But don't keep calling everything school when the actual work that should be called school is not even happening at all. Number 3, homeschooling takes more discipline from the parent than the child. Okay, this one is going to start stinging a little bit, because this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where we need to understand that we cannot expect our children to be more responsible and more consistent than their mother is. I had to learn this the hard way. It took longer than it should have, but the responsibility begins and ends with me. Okay, Mom, the responsibility begins and ends with you. If you are not consistently requiring your children to do school, that means Monday through Friday, then you are not disciplined enough and you need to do better. Children respond really, really well to structure, but it is the parents that have to create that structure. So much homeschool stress comes simply from adult inconsistency. Inconsistency around bedtime, inconsistency about time to get up, around when school starts, around which subjects we have to get done every single day. These are adult decisions that are not being made with consistency, and it is time for that to stop. The good news is this is not a personality trait, so you don't get to blame this on your Enneagram number. You do not get to blame this on the Myers-Briggs test, okay? This is a skill that you can learn. You need to repent of your lack of discipline. You need to pray and ask the Holy Spirit to help and guide you. And then you need to put one foot in front of the other. You need to make your plan and you need to work that plan. Your child's education is at stake. They are not going to just magically graduate at the age of 18, having learned everything that they need to learn to be productive in this life. You have to teach them. That is part of your responsibility as a homeschool mother. You have taken on that responsibility and it is time to fulfill it. Number 4, if you don't lead your homeschool, someone else will. Okay, now what do I mean by someone else? Well, someone else might be your bad mood. It could be, and most likely is, your child's bad mood. It could be the loudest and most stubborn child in the house. It could be screens. It could be your fatigue. Let me tell you a little secret. Homeschool leadership, and really all leadership, is all about making decisions ahead of time, being proactive and already knowing what your next steps are going to be whenever the day goes south, because life is full of contingencies, especially throughout motherhood, mothering a large brood. You know, I have 11 children. I know all about things going off course. The difference between a mother who knows how to lead her children and one who is constantly overwhelmed and throwing up her hands is that the mother who knows how to lead well expected the things to go wrong, and she already has a plan for it. You can become that mother. I promise. If I could do it, you can do it. The key here is that your day cannot be negotiated in real time. You need to have a list and you need to work that list. Number 5, a calm homeschool usually looks boring from the outside. I've done a whole video on why my homeschool should be considered boring, and probably is considered boring by a lot of people. You can watch that here after this video. So here's the thing. Calm and lazy are not the same thing. Just because my homeschool is calm and predictable does not mean that nothing's getting done. On the contrary, it means that so very much is getting done. It is that quiet repetition that really builds competence. Day in and day out, my kids are doing the flashcards for multiple subjects. We're doing recitation. They are doing all sorts of memory work. They are doing that math every day, correcting that math every day, getting the new math lesson every day, doing quiet reading every day. There are so many habits that are now ingrained in my children's day. They would be completely lost without it. That is what you are shooting for. You are shooting for that same type of repetition that your children wouldn't even know what to do with themselves if they didn't have their schedule in place. Instagram homeschool does not equal a functional homeschool. If it looks dramatic, it usually means that it's just inefficient. Number 6, kids do not need school to be fun in order to love learning. Here is an uncomfortable truth. Short lessons done daily will always beat out a really long, elaborate, well-planned lesson done only occasionally. Fun is not the same thing as satisfying. If you have not given your children the opportunity to ever memorize a long poem, or to ever memorize their math facts, or to ever memorize all of the states and capitals, or to learn how to recite the states in alphabetical order, you are robbing them of so much satisfaction. There is satisfaction in mastery. There is a confidence that children gain from learning to quote large portions of scripture, from learning how to wow their grandparents by reciting the states alphabetically. And you're robbing your children of that by never giving them the opportunity to master something. Now, is memorization fun? Not really. It's a little bit boring, but you know what is fun? When you are reciting what you have memorized and it impresses people. That's a lot of fun. Or when you don't have to think twice when you're doing your math because you already know all of your math facts. So you can focus on learning to do the more elaborate functions in math instead of having to count on your fingers, or instead of having to consult the multiplication table, or, God forbid, use a calculator. Mastery creates confidence, and confidence is what fuels interest. Number 7, child-led homeschooling fails most families. I'm going to go out on a controversial limb here and just go ahead and state for the record that I believe that child-led anything is a failure. The Bible created a hierarchy, and that puts parents squarely above the children. The Bible instructs parents to teach their children, to train their children, and to lead their children. That means that child-led does not line up with any of that. Your child should not be leading his own learning. How can he do that if he doesn't know what he needs to learn? He should not be leading anything. He is the child. You are the parent. It is time to be the parent. Is parenting easy? No, it is not, but you should have known that before you started your family. Like, this is not a newsflash. Parenting is not easy, but let me tell you what is harder than parenting well. It is so much harder to be the parent of a wild and disobedient child than it is to be the parent of a well-behaved child who got there through faithful parenting. Children that obey their parents and respect their parents are not born that way. They are trained into it, just as the Bible tells us to do it. If you are struggling in this area, there is a book that I will recommend again, and that is Parenting by the Book. I will link that in the description below, but I can tell you right now, I cannot imagine how difficult it must be to feel helpless and to feel like there's nothing that you can do about your child's behavior. That is a lie that you have been sold, and it is time to return that lie because it is not serving you. It is not serving your child. It is not in your child's best interest to disobey his parents. He's actually breaking one of the 10 commandments, and it's your job to teach him that. So read the book, start applying those principles, get your children under control, and then you will have a much easier time homeschooling your children. Number 8, your homeschool won't outrun your personal discipline. The best systems in the world will collapse without the follow-through of the person that is supposed to be running through those systems. Your children are going to rise to whatever level of consistency you enforce. So if you are the one that is always being convinced, either by your children or by your own desires, to abandon school for the day, your children are never going to be the disciplined one that says, "Oh no, mother, we really want to do math today." Do you understand how ridiculous that would be? So if you are only getting school pulled off a few days out of the week, you have a personal discipline problem and you have to fix it. You are the kink in the hose. You are the dependency that must be resolved in order to move forward. This is actually empowering. It is not meant to be condemning. It means it's like this, the bad news, mom, is that you are the problem. The good news is that you are the problem. This is fixable. You are capable of fixing this. It is just going to take some hard work. So, this is not a situation like, if your child has dyslexia, for example, like that's really hard and it's out of control. There are a lot of things that you can do, but it's going to take as long as it takes and it's going to be a hard road. Your own lack of self-discipline is something that you do have the power to fix. Number 9, your homeschool reflects what you tolerate, not what you believe. Okay, so your beliefs do not shape your days. Your tolerances do. So you may believe that children should obey their parents in the Lord, but if you tolerate disobedience from your children, then that is actually what is going to happen. Okay, so this can be applied in every single area. You may believe that you need to give your children a well-rounded education, but you may tolerate your own lack of self-discipline. And so that's never going to happen. What keeps happening day after day in your homeschool is what you are allowing to happen. The actual changes begin when you decide, this stops now. This gets fixed. The kind of leadership that you're going to need to have a successful homeschool is the kind that is radically honest and self-assessing. So you really need to take a good hard look at what it is that you are tolerating and which things you need to stop tolerating. So if you found yourself nodding along today, especially to the uncomfortable parts, that is actually a really good sign. Most homeschool problems come from a lack of structure, a lack of boundaries, and a lack of clear leadership. So if you need some help turning these truths into something practical that you can actually follow, I created the Homeschool Schedule Blueprint just for that reason. This is not motivational. It is not theoretical. It is completely practical. It will show you exactly how to structure your homeschool so that it will happen every day with consistency, and you will finally start making some progress in your homeschool. You can finish it in an afternoon. You can check out the link for that in the description below. If you're at the point though where you don't just need a schedule, you actually need some accountability and you need some mentorship, I would invite you to check out the Headmistress Circle. It is a group coaching support group where you get help from me. There is a Facebook group with lots of other women who are on the same journey, who want excellence for their homeschool. They're getting feedback, they're getting accountability, and they are making amazing things happen every day. You do not need to overhaul everything. You just need to stop tolerating the things that are not working and start moving forward in progress.